I still remember the night the silence broke us. Sergio stood in the doorway, eyes soft, mouth half open, like he wanted to say something but swallowed it instead. The air between us felt heavier than it ever had before. I didn't know it then, but that was the night I lost something I hadn't realized I'd been holding, his quiet love. I saw in the way he looked at me, like every laugh, every shared cup of coffee, every late-night talk had been leading here. But the words never came. And by morning, neither did he. The rain had been falling for hours, tapping against the window like a metronome for my thoughts. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. Sergio sat on the couch, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor. The lamp behind him threw a golden light over his face, soft and tired. I hovered near the kitchen counter, pretending to dry a mug. The truth was, I was watching him, the way his shoulders tensed when I moved, the way he avoided my eyes. Something had shifted between us lately. You can always tell when love is trying to hide. It stumbles on every silence. He broke the quiet first. "You're quiet tonight," he said, voice low. I shrugged, still facing the sink. "You are too." He let out a breath that almost sounded like a laugh. Guess we're both running out of words. That shouldn't have hurt, but it did. I turned then, and our eyes met for the first time all evening. His gaze was unreadable, a mix of apology, confusion, and something else I was too scared to name. Some silences don't just hang in the air. They beg to be broken. Sergio leaned back, rubbing his jaw. "Do you ever think we just stopped trying?" It wasn't like him to say things like that. He usually had behind humor, sarcasm, or half smiles. This was different. Raw, real. "I don't know," I said quietly. "Did we?" He nodded once, almost imperceptibly. Then his gaze drifted to the rain. "Maybe I did. Maybe that's on me." I walked closer without realizing it, drawn by something I couldn't name. His voice, his stillness, the way his hand brushed against his knee. Everything pulled me in. Closeness as a way of revealing everything words can't. He turned toward me then, and the space between us felt electric, like we were on opposite ends of the same confession. His eyes flicked to my lips before he blinked, looking away quickly. "What are we doing, Sergio?" I asked, barely a whisper. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Pretending it's fine." I wanted to say something, anything, but the lump in my throat made it impossible. So I just sat beside him, close enough to feel his warmth. Sometimes the hardest part of love is the inch you never cross. He ran a hand through his hair, sighing. "You ever think we messed it up before it even started?" The question lingered in the air like smoke. I turned to him slowly, heart pounding. "Started what?" He looked at me then, really looked. The softness in his expression was something I hadn't seen before, something fragile. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. "Sergio," I said gently. His hand twitched, almost reaching for mine. "Forget it," he murmured, looking away. But his voice cracked on the last word. A single crack in the voice can sound louder than any confession. The rain softened outside, and the only sound left was a faint hum of the refrigerator. I could feel his heartbeat in the silence, or maybe it was mine echoing too loudly. When I finally stood to walk away, Sergio's voice stopped me. "Hey!" I turned back. He was staring at me with that same look from the flashback, half love, half regret. "You don't get it," he said quietly. "You never do." Before I could ask what he meant, he smiled faintly, like it was safer to say nothing at all. Love doesn't always need words to hurt. Silence does it just fine. The clock ticked past midnight. The rain had stopped, but the quiet hadn't. I sat there, staring at the faint reflection of myself in the window, and Sergio behind me, still on the couch. He hadn't moved since that last sentence. Neither had I. I wanted to ask him what he meant. I wanted to turn around, close the space between us, force the words out of both of us. But instead, I said the only thing I could. "I don't understand." His voice came low, almost fragile. "Exactly. When silence becomes language, every heartbeat feels like a confession." He finally stood. The soft creak of the couch filled the air. His steps were slow, deliberate, almost cautious, like he was approaching something dangerous. When he stopped beside me, I could see his reflection beside mine in the window. Two outlines, shoulder to shoulder, not touching, but the distance between them felt like a weight. "You really don't see it, do you?" he said softly. I turned, and for once, he didn't look away. His eyes were tired, but underneath that exhaustion, there was something burning. Sometimes, love doesn't arrive with grand gestures, just a quiet ache you can't unsee. He hesitated, then said, "All this time, I thought maybe you felt it too." I swallowed. My pulse jumped. "Felt what?" He laughed under his breath, shaking his head. "Never mind. You'll just—" I cut him off. "No, Sergio. Say it." He exhaled, a shuddering sound. "I can't, because once I do, it doesn't go back." I stepped closer. Maybe it shouldn't. That was the first time his guard cracked. His eyes flicked down, just briefly, then back up again. He looked like someone fighting gravity itself. Every almost touch holds the weight of everything unsaid. For a second, I thought he would walk away. But then he took another step closer. The air between us shifted, thicker, heavier. "I can't do this," he said, voice breaking. "Do what?" "This. Pretend." The word hit harder than I expected, because I knew exactly what he meant, and yet neither of us said it out loud. His hand brushed against mine. Just barely. A whisper of contact, accidental or not. I didn't move. Neither did he. Sometimes love doesn't scream. It trembles between two hands too afraid to hold. "I should have told you," he said quietly, "before it got this hard." I looked at him, searching his face for something to hold on to, an explanation, a truth, anything. "Told me what?" He smiled sadly. "That I cared, more than I should have, maybe more than you ever will." The room tilted, or maybe it was just my heartbeat stumbling. I wanted to say something back, but every word felt too small for what was happening. "Sergio." He blinked slowly, as if memorizing me. "Don't," he whispered. "Please, not unless you mean it." The cruelest kind of love is the one that arrives one heartbeat too late. We stood there in silence again, the same kind that started this, only now it felt full instead of empty. I could hear the hum of the refrigerator, the faint dripping of rain outside. When I finally reached out, it wasn't to hold him. It was to touch his arm, light and trembling. He didn't move away, but he didn't lean closer either. Instead, he said, "It's late. You should sleep." It wasn't what I wanted to hear, but maybe it was what I needed. Not every ending is loud. Some just fade into the sound of breathing you'll miss later. He left the room first. I stayed behind, staring at the door he disappeared through. It wasn't until I heard his bedroom door click shut that I let out the breath I'd been holding. My reflection in the window looked strange, hollow but alive, like someone who just survived a storm they didn't understand. And in the distance, I thought I heard his voice, soft, almost broken, whisper something I couldn't make out. Maybe it was my name. Maybe it was goodbye. Sometimes the silence after love isn't empty. It's full of what could have been.